I think it would be very healthy for people to create rock bands and write a lot of music that would be very pertinent to our times. It would get out their own frustrations, but would also connect with such an array of people in this country. And yeah, so if you want to get out from some frustration, form a rock and roll band. And you can be all the things you want to be in that. It gives me a chance to look at myself from a completely different perspective that I don't see, you know, from other people's perspectives, or just seeing it, what's real and live and happening in the moment, whether if it's a show clip or something. It just enables me to feel and see myself in a different way.
In terms of artists that I would be honored to work with, I think Joan is at the top, near the top of the heap, if not at the top of the heap. And I think that just following her career throughout, you know, many decades, and just seeing, well, loving the music, first of all, and seeing the impact she's had on the world, not just as an artist, but I think as just a human being on the planet. I think it's an amazingly cinematic tale to tell. And so I was honored to get the call.
Well, I think Joan, throughout her career and throughout her life, has really done what she wanted to do and, you know, phased out the noise and didn't let other people tell her who she should be. And I think it's a really relevant moment to talk about that and to really inspire younger generations and older generations too that need that.
How would you characterize your relationship with Joan?
It's like brother and sister, or maybe even worse, maybe it's like sisters. And and we fight, and it goes away, and we just leave all the surrounding people in our wake. But we also come together on a certain kind of musical energy, you know, that we like. Pop music with menace, and that's sort of kept it going. The other thing about our relationship is we don't compete with each other. So it's never been, if something happens and Joan got credit for it, I'm thrilled. If I get credit for something, or something that she even did, she's thrilled. And I think that, you know, it's always heartbreaking when you see great partnerships that break up or that hate each other after making humongous, successful music.
I've been lucky enough to play with a few people that are, I mean, really amazing, like with Nirvana, doing something like that. I mean, as a fan, when they asked me, I was scared to death, you know, because that's like classic music that you don't mess with. But the fact that they asked me, and it was the band, and you know, I took it as a challenge, and so I had to do it. You know, it was like, you just have to do that and challenge yourself. But I really enjoyed that.
The Beach Boys came in and sang on one of the, it was a chart record, one giant one, good music. But I spoke to their legendary manager, Jerry Schilling, and he goes, they won't go in the studio together, so you better pick one and ask them to help. So I picked Carl Wilson, and then Bruce Johnson showed up in hot pants, and he said he wanted to show us. And then I get this call, and it's their tour manager, and he goes, Mike Love's here. He's really upset. He doesn't understand why he wasn't invited. And by the time we were done, we had the entire Beach Boys in the studio, and the next day Jerry Schilling calls me, how the hell did you do that? So, yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah,
that was
funny.
unbelievable.
Joan's had incredible adversity in her life, and she's plowed through that with incredible perseverance. But I think that the thing is, like, her life is just such a positive. The music is such a positive. And for me, that was really a pretty luminous aspect of this whole endeavor, for sure.
See, even to hear that from Kevin is a completely different perspective than I would ever feel about my own self. You know what I mean? So in every bit of this, I'm learning how people look at me, and it's So, you know, it's very hard to ask me questions about the movie because I'm learning too. So I'm along for the ride, basically.
A lot of times when you get to the, the documentary stage of somebody's life, it's always looking back. And I think that how this movie ends, it feels like it really looks forward. And Joan's still carrying the torch. She's still super active. She can still kick anybody else's ass on stage. and it's also how she carries the torch forward, but also how that torch may be passed to others. So I feel like it's actually a very forward-looking film, which is distinct from a lot of documentaries.